Hello, welcome to 70 Years, 70 Muppets, a Muppet fan podcast presented by ToughPigs.com. This is the podcast where we celebrate the Muppets' 70th anniversary with 70 straight weeks of spotlights on our favorite Muppet characters, from the most popular to the most obscure. I'm this week's host, Danny Horn, from Tough Pigs and Muppet Wiki, and most recently the creator of the fantastic Miss Piggy podcast, which you can hear on the Tough Pigs Muppet Fan podcast feed. And the Muppet for this week is Animal, the Muppet Show drummer and all-around maniac, originally performed by Frank Oz, now performed by Eric Jacobson, designed by Jim Henson, built by Dave Goelz, making his debut in 1975. And obviously, I cannot get hold of this subject all by myself. I'm going to need a couple people around me with like a big baseball bat and a butterfly net or something. So who do I have on my squad today? Hey, it is Joe Hennes and Matthew Soberman from ToughPigs.com. Joe, Matthew, welcome to the Animal Show.
Ha ha ha.
How are you guys
Thanks
doing?
for having us. Yeah, eat drums, guys. Eat drums.
All right. Well, I figured I'd start out with a simple question. Frank Oz said that he had Animal's character down to 5 words: sex, sleep, food, drums, and pain. My question to you, which one is your favorite?
Food.
Food for you?
Are you talking about for me or for Animal? Like,
For you.
which is my favorite for myself?
Yep.
I mean, I like a good nap. Sleep is pretty good.
Sleep is very good.
Already, this is going to be
exactly.
a fantastic conversation already.
Yeah, bringing up the energy here. Talking about
Yeah, no,
naps.
it's really good. I mean, I wish that I could say like sex and drums, but those days are behind me. Yeah, I'm more in the food and sleep direction at this point. It comes to us all. So, Animal, created as part of the Electric Mayhem band. I'm just going to talk for just a second about kind of how he came up. He was created for the Muppet Show pilot, Sex and Violence, in 1975, and the band was basically put together as rock archetypes. You had like Sergeant Floyd Pepper representing the Beatles, and Janice was originally a Mick Jagger figure. That's why she has the big lips. So like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones for 1975, that was the correct answer. And then there's the drummer, Animal.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing that I love about that early version of the Electric Mayhem as a whole is that they're not only supposed to be rock archetypes, as you said, but they're like to the nth degree, to the point where they're almost obnoxious about it, where they're just like, they're so loud, they've got so much energy that they almost don't fit on they don't fit on like the stage version of the Muppet Show, the in-universe version of the Muppet Show. And for like, if we're going down that route, Animal is really the epitome of that idea, where he is just like pure id. He's pure energy. Like he just, like you cannot contain him.
Like a force of musical chaos.
He is absolutely unrestrained id. However, as we will discuss later, I think that they are finding new ways to examine the character, as we will see a little later on.
There's rumors about who Animal is based on, which I always find incredibly tiresome. It's a thing that people say. The one that I have heard the most is Keith Moon from The Who.
Yeah, that's
there's
the one
this sort
I've
of
heard.
constant reason. And then also, like, Wikipedia also says John Bonham from Led Zeppelin and Ginger Baker from Cream. I don't know.
Yeah, those make sense. Those are kind of the prototypical wild guy drummers.
But at the same time, I feel like that's the kind of thing that those guys would have said. Like, oh yeah, Animal's definitely based on me.
Yeah.
But also going back to Sex and Violence, and like the first time that we see Animal, and he's literally like a monster in the dungeon, like kind of peeking his head through the vent. I have to assume from looking at that is they came from a point of, no, he's just an animal. He's just like a monster who has so much energy that he puts it into the drum set.
Yeah.
And I don't see that really connecting to any of the other drummers that you just mentioned.
People, right.
Yeah, it's a pastiche. It's not necessarily based on in one individual.
Now, Animal has like a huge body of work. He's been a main character basically for the last 50 out of the 70 years. So we can't talk about everything today. So between the three of us, we've chosen our favorite Animal moments to talk about. So this is going to be kind of our top 10 Animal memories.
I mean, kind of appropriate for a musician doing a top 10.
Yes, exactly. And so, Matthew, why don't you start us off?
I will start us off because I believe I picked the earliest moment, and that is the fever number from the Rita Moreno episode of The Muppet Show. And this, to me, is where Animal is clarified. I know Dave Goelz talks about that no when he finds Gonzo. This is where Animal is truly born.
Yes.
You see him, fighting against the restraints of the number where it's supposed to be very cool, very loose, and Animal is just, fighting out there. And the punchline is the best part because you've got, he's, obviously working against Rita all this time. And then when she slams the cymbals on his head, that's my kind of woman. And that's where you get the sex in Animal.
Right.
If you had to explain Animal, that's the sketch you use.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's something that's interesting. He's kind of crafty in it too. Like he's not just like, but like there's, when she turns to look at him and he's like looks away and pretends that he's not doing that. Like he's not just completely like noise. Like there's also a brain going on in that, and which means that like him cutting loose, he's doing it on purpose. The second moment, I've got the second one, which is alligator wrestling from the Bob Hope episode of The Muppet Show. If folks need reminding, we are backstage. There's a loud noise, and Floyd tells Kermit, "Hey, remember you told Animal he should take up a hobby to calm his nerves?" And Kermit says, "What kind of hobby did he take up?" "Alligator wrestling." And then there's like a parade of 3 alligators running away from Animal, and one of them is waving a white flag. and here comes Animal with the 4th alligator, and they're doing this lovely puppetry where he's attached to the alligator's mouth, and Animal like forces the alligator's mouth open, and then they kind of like he flips him over and then flips him over the other way. And then later on in the episode, they do another couple hobbies for Animal. One is bowling overhand, and then he's hunting, just screaming "bunny rabbit" and shooting off a bazooka at the bunny rabbits.
That must be the birth of Animal's obsession with bunny rabbits.
Bunny rabbits, yes. The reason why I chose this moment is because it's an early example of getting Animal away from the drums, like getting him outside of the context of a musical performance and kind of sketching out what he's actually like in his life. Like what happens when you have this wild creature who like can't be controlled backstage at your theater while you're trying to put on a show. And I feel like it takes him away from just being like an archetype of wild drummers and just makes him much more specific as a character.
More specific, but also I feel like it opens him up to be a broader definition of what that id is, or that force of nature that we were talking about earlier, where it's like, yeah, it's not just that like when he's got all his energy and he's putting it into the drums and it makes this really loud song. It's no, he has a bazooka. Don't give Animal a bazooka. It's the worst idea I've ever heard.
All right, third moment coming up for Animal is Joe.
For this one, it's from the Helen Reddy episode. It's the very brief backstage moment where Animal and the Swedish chef come into her dressing room and sing "Happy Birthday." And the reason I chose this was because, number one, it's a great focus on just Animal, the fact that Animal sounds funny. Like he doesn't really speak like a normal person, and so we're going to lean into that and make it a joke. But also, it's the first time that we've seen Animal teamed up with the Swedish chef, who later will be 2/3 of the Leprechaun brothers, which honestly, like if I had followed the assignment, that's the one I should have picked, was the Leprechaun brothers singing Danny Boy, because people share that like crazy every March. But
there's something perfect about this.
There's something perfect about this. There's something, it's so honest that they come into the dressing room and they kind of like, the Swedish chef taps his little wooden spoon and they, okay, here we go. And they start singing "Happy Birthday" in their very funny broken English. And then Helen Reddy stops and is like, guys, it's not my birthday. And then without skipping a beat, they start singing "Jingle Bells," which is so unhinged of just the idea, oh, it's not your birthday? Well, it must be Christmas. And then they just go with it. And that's the punchline. Then it just ends.
As if Christmas does not have a fixed date.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But yeah, I mean, I love it. We could sit here and talk about the Leprechaun Brothers sketch ad nauseum. I think we have, which is another reason why I didn't really want to choose that one. But also, there are so many other times where this combination with and without Beaker has happened throughout the years. And every time, it's such an easy joke, but always funny when you get those 3 characters together and be like, just do something.
Joe, you got the number 4 as well?
I sure do. Number 4 is so when the Muppets guest hosted the Tonight Show, there's a moment where Kermit is interviewing Bernadette Peters, and Animal joins him at the desk. And this is funny for so many reasons to me. The main thing that I'm going to focus on here, though, is even though Animal kind of starts the whole thing by like he shouts "woman" and he does have like big outbursts.
Mm-hmm.
Most of this sketch is, if we can call it a sketch, is Animal like just kind of sitting in the background, eyes closed and breathing heavily.
Yep. Yeah.
So you mentioned at the top of this podcast, there are these 5 words that define Animal. Mm-hmm. One of which, as we discussed, is sleep. And I feel like of the 5 words, that's the one we don't really see that often.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually having trouble thinking of like many moments where sleep is important to Animal. But here, not only does Animal get to bring that energy way down, but it's still absolutely hysterical. Yes. That he's breathing heavy. He's repeating words that they say, Bernadette. Funny enough, I didn't realize I did this, but this is 2 in a row that I chose where Animal sings Happy Birthday. Because he also sings Happy Birthday for a moment.
He mentions that she had a birthday recently, and he starts going, Happy Birthday.
Yes, exactly.
And one thing that's great about it is Bernadette Peters is being so boring in this interview.
Yeah, it seemed deliberate that they're talking about grocery shopping. They're talking about like her birthday party. And it's like, I think it seemed like they knew, like, don't worry about being entertaining. Animal's got this.
Yeah, because we're going to have, it's just like Jim Henson and Frank Oz, and Henson is trying to be earnest and do this thing right. And Frank is there just to make this hilarious and
exactly
not boring. Yeah. So this is one where I think probably of all the things that we're going to mention, this is the one that's probably the most obscure and people maybe haven't seen it. So folks, go to YouTube, Kermit hosting the Tonight Show. It's like right in the middle of the episode. It's that whole as a special, which is basically what it is like a Muppet special. It's all really funny. It's very funny throughout, but yeah, like go check this out. Go check out Animal.
Absolutely. Check it out. Yeah, it's great. The whole thing is great.
All right. So I've got the number 5, which is eating the Instagrow pills in the Muppet movie. I don't think I have to explain this one very much. This is definitely the one that people have seen. That Animal, like he sees Bunsen and Beaker's jar of Instagrow pills in the saloon in the ghost town, and then Doc Hopper kind of arrives with his gang, and they're doing the sort of shootout, the high noon scene, where they're having a confrontation in the middle of the street. And it's been a couple minutes. It's actually been like 3 minutes since we saw Animal with the Instagrow pills, and so you kind of have forgotten by that point. Especially with this very dramatic scene between Kermit and Doc Hopper. And then all of a sudden the ground shakes, and then out of the building pops this enormous animal head. It's the most beautiful thing. Apparently practical as far as I know. Like maybe you guys know.
Yeah,
like
that's what they say.
They built a thing.
Yeah, and that Frank Oz actually performed it himself.
Yeah. And it's enormous and gorgeous. And it absolutely deserves to be like the last time we see Doc Hopper. Like they're doing a weird thing, which is they're going to stop the main villain of the movie half an hour before the movie is actually over. Like this confrontation is by no means the end of the movie. There is so much more. So if you're going to kind of stop the villain and move on to something else, you have to make it big enough and grand enough and hilarious enough to be worth getting rid of the villain. And I feel like that is exactly what they did there.
This discussion kind of takes me back to Brian J. Jones's biography of Jim Henson, and him and Jim and Frank talking about how they were going to handle the climax with Doc Hopper, and how Jim wanted Doc to be redeemed and listen to Kermit's words of reasoning, and Frank says, bull crap.
Yeah.
And I think this is the perfect way, because at this point, he really only knows Kermit and maybe a few of them. He has not encountered the Electric Mayhem, so he doesn't know the kind of family that Kermit has built.
Yeah.
And is like, oh wow, he's got protection now.
And speaking of that movie, Joe, you got the next one as well.
I do. Yeah. Also from the Muppet movie, I chose the very last moments of the film where we had been watching all the characters in the theater as they're congratulating themselves on a great film, and the credits end. Animal looks directly down the barrel of the camera and tells everyone to go home. There's 2 big reasons I chose this moment. The first one was despite what we think about post Iron Man movies, back then, not many movies did post credits sequences. And I looked it up because I've heard differing things that of where that trend started. And apparently there's like one movie from, I think, 1966, Wikipedia. Yeah, 66. Wikipedia says it's The Silencers with Dean Martin had a post-credit sequence, and then kind of nothing until the Muppet movie. So we're going to take credit. The Muppet movie is the second. The other reason that I chose this moment was because Animal saying "go home" at the end of this set up a little bit of a trend for the Muppet movies, where I know in Muppets Take Manhattan you hear his voice telling saying bye bye to everybody. You get Gonzo at the end of Great Muppet Caper as well, taking everybody's pictures. But also, more importantly, I would argue, is for Muppet Babies. Right. I don't think that any of us chose any Muppet Babies moments for this project here, probably because there aren't really any iconic Muppet Babies moments that would stand up against the adult Animal moments that we're discussing here. But this idea that all Animal has to do is look into the camera, say goodbye, and then for 100 some episodes of Muppet Babies, every single one ends with baby Animal going, go bye-bye. And that was an important part of the show. You had to watch the credits.
It's funny every time.
It's funny every time. It's another good use of Animal as an agent of chaos, because he's usually screwing around with baby Gonzo. And, that's how you know the episode's over. Animal has to tell you that it's over. You can't leave until Animal says it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so chaotic, he smashes the fourth wall.
It's true.
Number 7 is Matthew.
Speaking of the Muppets Take Manhattan, I noticed when we did this, we each picked 3 moments, and we managed to completely miss the 80s.
Yeah, good point.
So I did not pick Hasta Luego from Muppets Take Manhattan. I went a little earlier in the film, where Animal gets his big moment shouting "bad man" and attacking what is ostensibly the film's only human villain. If you go to our website, please read The Muppets versus Manhattan. But the lone human bad guy in Muppets Take Manhattan is Dabney Coleman's character, Martin Price, aka also known as Murray Plotsky. And I think this, in a small way, kind of sets up layers of Animal, because, I mean, he is being chaotic, of course, but he's also being protective of his friends. Because, at this point, Price has taken Gonzo and Camilla hostage, and how do you really diffuse a hostage situation with those two than to introduce Animal and basically get it to the point where Martin Price is going to the police just to protect himself? And so, I mean, there's really not much to it other than him chasing, grabbing some more great puppetry work of him, clenched to Price's legs as he's being shaken around but refusing to yield.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing that I love about this scene too, is Animal is being performed in at least 3 different ways here, where, there's the shot where he's above Martin Price's head in the doorway, and there's a little bit of marionette action happening for him to say bad man. It's sometimes Frank's hand is in the puppet, and sometimes stapled Animal's hands to Dabney Coleman's shoes and said, go for it. And I love that. It makes Animal, most characters wouldn't work that way, because it would make them look like a rag doll. But Animal's all over the place, and he's biting at his feet and, whatever. And
I mean, he kind of has rag doll energy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he has bones.
And so, Matthew, you've got a 90s.
Yes, our lone
number 8 is the 90s.
So our number 8 moment, just because I love this very small but deeply loved trope of Frank Oz injecting Yiddish into his characters. I have Animal grunting "oi" as he pushes the Gonzo's cannon to a bar mitzvah in Muppets from Space. And it's so simple. The fact that it's Animal of all people.
Yeah.
Just the fact that Animal knows Yiddish tickles me to no end. but does it delight me.
Coming up, number 9. It is the Ben Schwartz phone scene in Muppets Mayhem, Track 3, Exile on Main Street. It is, I feel like, definitely the funniest thing in Muppets Mayhem. Possibly like funniest scene since Muppets Most Wanted, maybe, where like Ben Schwartz is trying to help Animal get a job. Now Animal has left the Electric Mayhem. He doesn't want to be a drummer anymore. And so now he's looking for new employment. And Ben Schwartz is Gus DeVore, helping him, kind of running an employment agency and helping him try to figure out what Animal is going to do. There's something that it feels like an improv scene, and knowing Ben Schwartz, like, might actually have been entirely an improv scene.
I will confirm it was, because we did a Muppets Mayhem podcast over on the Tough Pigs Muppet Fan Podcast channel. And when we talked about that episode, it was like, they had general things, obviously, they needed to accomplish, but it's just Ben Schwartz and Eric Jacobson going nuts. Do whatever you want.
Having fun.
Like, just talk for 45 minutes and we'll cut it down to 20 seconds.
And it's fantastic. They're pretending to be on the phone, pretending that he's going to be answering phone, and he just does not get that concept very well.
I'm so glad that you chose this moment for this list, because I wasn't even thinking of anything post Frank. Like, no shade to Eric Jacobson. I think he's great, but Frank Oz himself in his own way is such a force of nature. Like, how could anything that he does compete with any other Animal moment? And this scene not only is so friggin' hysterical, but this might be my favorite Animal moment from the post-Frank era, and really showcases that, even though we always have to, unfortunately, compare Eric Jacobson to Frank Oz just naturally, this may be the first time where I kind of realized, like, oh, Eric is actually hysterical. He's a great improviser and a really funny person, but we have to, like, kind of lose that. But Frank would have done it better, or Frank would have done something different, or whatever it is. Because this, I would give so much money to get my hands on the uncut footage of whatever else that they talked about. It's just so great. I want to see it.
Yeah. So Matthew, how about number 10?
So yes, number 10. I also picked a moment from Muppets Mayhem. I went a couple episodes later for the episode Break On Through, and it's Animal's trip once he eats those expired marshmallows, and he meets the baby version of himself, also performed by Eric. We've been talking about Frank Oz's directive for the character: sex, sleep, food, drums, and pain. I think at this moment it kind of peels back the layer of, you can still bring depth to this character without losing that primitive drive.
Right.
And I love the way they turn Baby Animal into sort of his inner voice, where it's like, you're drawn to Nora not because of your unrestrained libido, but because you feel a kinship to her. This is not lust. This is love, like genuine love. His passion is to protect her and to give her the best effort he has. And I just love how they've found this new level to Animal that maybe I don't feel was kind of there during the Frank era. Not that Frank isn't great, but I love how Eric's been able to take him into this new direction.
Yeah, there's such a tenderness, because what, it's Animal and Baby Animal, and Animal's kind of holding Baby Animal in his lap, and he's saying, baby, I can't do it. Like, it's, the amount of emotion and depth that Jacobson brings to him, but that feels
very
really
affectionate.
Real. Yeah, and that feels real. And I guess Eric also, like, Animal likes bunny rabbits, and I forget exactly when that started. Like, I know, like, he was hunting bunny rabbits that we talked about at the beginning, but like, actually liking bunny rabbits, is that an Eric thing?
Was it like I don't remember, but there was this interview, and he, they ask Animal what are his passions beyond the drums. He's just like, bunny rabbit.
Yeah, I feel like that started with the was it like some not Oh My Disney, like Disney XD, whatever those like
like
YouTube
the
videos were
viral videos and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Like before there was a YouTube, there was like a bunch of them on Muppets.com.
Yeah.
And there was a series of them with like Animal and his pet bunny. And I don't know. It's funny because like I know people love the bunny stuff. For me, it was always a little too like, are they trying to kidify Animal? Like they're trying to take his edge off so that he could be more of like. I wrote an article about this for Tough Pigs where I said, Animal before was a force of nature and now he's baby caveman, and there's good and bad to that, but it did feel like it was a little like, oh, they're just turning him into a baby caveman.
Yeah.
But I think to what Matthew was talking about of this moment with Animal addressing his softer side, interacting with his younger self. Well, first of all, I have to say, I love the voice that Eric does for Baby Animal in this scene, where it's like this haughty, like snooty British man. I think that's hysterical. And the design of that puppet is the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it shows that Animal has a history and he's got depth. And he's more than just, that thing that was like in the sewers in Sex and Violence that we put it in front of a drum set. So yeah, I appreciate all that very much in a way that I don't think I could have a few years earlier.
Now, these are our top 10, and I'm sure there are some amazing animal moments that we haven't thought of. So if you've got favorite memories of your own, please post them on social media or come to the Tough Pigs Discord and tell us what animal moments you love. Joe and Matthew, thank you so much for joining me and talking about Animal today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Let's do this again when they do another week of Animal.
Well, you know what? I'll see you guys in 70 years, and we'll talk about this all over again. All right, great. Thanks very much, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's nice.
Go home.
Hasta luego.
70 Years, 70 Muppets is a Muppet fan podcast presented by toughpigs.com, hosted by a whole myriad of people and edited by them as well. Produced by Jared Fairclough. The Muppet 70 logo used with permission by the Muppet Studio with thanks to Danny Iglesias, Frank Reif Snyder and Lee Slaughter. Don't forget to follow toughpigs.com on all social media platforms. You can support us by heading to patreon.com/toughpigs or buying a t-shirt at tpublic.com/toughpigs.